the importance of computer have expanded to such extent that because of certain advantages of computer. Input unit. Now what do you mean by input unit? It controls various input devices which are used for entering the data into the computer system. Under CPU there are main three units: arithmetic and logic unit, memory unit as well as control unit. Hello everyone, I am Harshita, lecturer, Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. My dear students, today we are in the second session of chapter 12, that is from part B, and the chapter 12 is applications of computers in accounting. So already we have discussed few of the concepts. Let us quickly recall what we have discussed in a previous session. So in a previous session, I have covered this topic, that is we have discussed about introduction to computer, that is how the computer is being used in recent days, then meaning of computer, elements of computer system and types of software. So these are the few important concepts what I have discussed in a previous session. In today's session, we shall continue with new concepts. So let us discuss about capabilities of computer system. So as I told you, the weightage of this chapter is very less, where you can expect 1 mark, 2 mark as well as 5 marks practical oriented questions. Or you might get a 6 marks question sometimes, but most of the time they have asked 1, 2 as well as 5 marks questions. So let us see what are the capabilities of computer system. So if you see the first one, high speed. So when compared to manual accounting system, so if you do accounting in computer, so these are the capabilities here. So first one is high speed. So computer work with a high speed. So you know about it. So computer, the working in computer is speed of working in computer is very high. So we are going to prefer this computer. So the importance of computer have expanded to such extent that because of certain advantages of computer. So if you see the first one, it is high speed. That is computer work with a high speed. Next one is accuracy. So what do you mean by accuracy? Whatever the results or whatever the output what the computer will give, it will be accurate or it will be correct. So there is more accuracy in computer system. So computer provide accurate results. Okay, so whatever the output what the computer will give, so it will be accurate. Next one is reliability. So computer is more reliable. So there are number of users who can rely on the information or rely on the results what the computer have given. So because it provides accurate results, so it is more reliable. So reliability, computers are more reliable in nature. Next one is versatility. Computer are able to perform variety of tasks. So it is not confined only to a particular task. It performs variety of operations or variety of tasks. So it is termed as versatility. Next one is storage. Of course, when compared to other manual accounting system or any other manual activities, computer can store more data. So computers have huge capacity to store data or information. So these are the few capabilities of computers. So you might get for 2 marks also. So state any or explain any 2 capabilities of computer system. So or you can write the advantages also. So this capability itself will be the advantage. So the first one is high speed, in the sense it works with greater speed, and the next one is accuracy. So whatever the information or results what we get from the computer system, it is more accurate or it is more correct. Next one is reliability. Computer is more reliable in nature. So number of users can rely on the results of computer because of its accuracy. Next one is versatility. So computer is not confined to perform only a particular task. Variety of tasks will be performed by the computer. So it is versatile in nature. Next, storage. So when compared to normal accounting system or to manual accounting system, here the computer can store large number of data as well as information. So these are the capabilities of computer system. Now coming to the limitations, so along with the advantages, there are certain limitations in computer system. So if you see here, first one is lack of common sense. So computer system do not possess any common sense. They work according to the stored programs. So computer is an electronic device, so it is a machine, correct? So it will not use the extra common sense. So it will work as per the instructions which is given to the computer. So the one of the limitation is lack of common sense. Next one is zero IQ. Computers are dumb device with zero intelligence quotient. So they cannot visualize and think what exactly to do under particular situation. As I told, it's a machine. So it will not have the extra thinking capability. So it will do according to the instructions which is given, and it is a machine. So it will do the work repetitive in nature. So it is a machine. So zero IQ. Next one is lack of decision making. So here computer, as I told, it is a device or it is a machine. So here it will not have decision making power. So computer cannot take decisions on their own. So like humans, so they can't take the decisions on their own. So these are the few limitations. So here also you can expect 2 marks. So write any 2 limitations of computer system. So you can write any of the 2 limitations. So there are number of advantages as well as number of disadvantages. So for you, it's enough if you learn all these few concepts. Next one is components of computer. So this is a very important concept where you can expect a 5 marks practical oriented question. So most of the time they have asked, draw a block diagram on components of computer. So you have to draw this block diagram. Okay, so simple block diagram, and this is a very important question, practical oriented question for 5 marks, where you have to draw this block diagram of components of computer. So here input, storage or secondary storage, where we have input as well as output. Next memory unit, ALU, arithmetic and logic unit. Next is control unit and the output unit. So this is a block diagram of components of computer. So just you have to draw the diagram which fetches you 5 marks. That is practical oriented question. So go through this diagram carefully. You have to learn this diagram. Next, coming to the explanation here, that is the components of computer. First one is input unit. Now, what do you mean by input unit? It controls various input devices which are used for entering the data into the computer system. As I told you, computer will not work on its own. So, we have to feed data into the computer so that it will provide us meaningful information. So, on which devices we are going to feed data into the computer. So those devices are known as what? Input devices. So input devices means what? Which are help for entering the data. So these are the devices which helps to enter the data into the computer system. So those devices are called as input devices. So here keyboard and mouse, for instance, are the most commonly used input devices. Suppose I want to enter some text. So what I'll do? I'll type in my keyboard, correct? So keyboard is an input device. In the same way, suppose I want to click something. So mouse is also an input device. So these are the most commonly used input devices or enter data into the computer system. So other such input devices are magnetic tape, magnetic disc, light pen, optical scanner, magnetic ink, character recognition, that is MICR. You might get a abbreviation of this. So you might get a question on abbreviation MICR. So that is magnetic ink character recognition. Next, optical character recognition, that is OCR, barcode reader, smart card reader, etc. Besides, there are other devices which respond to voice as well as physical touch also. So, timing, you remember, input unit means what? Those devices which are help to enter data into computer system, they are termed as input devices. So, all the input devices comes under input unit. Okay, so best example is keyboard and mouse, and there are certain input devices which we have seen. And you have to go through these abbreviations also, that is MICR, magnetic ink character recognition, OCR, optical character recognition. So such type of abbreviations they might ask for 1 mark. Now coming to the next one, CPU, that is Central Processing Unit. So this is also one of the important component of computer system. So this is a main part of computer hardware that actually process data according to the instruction it receives. So under input unit, we are going to feed the data into the computer system. Now the data has to be converted into information. So in between their process takes place, that is conversion of data into information. So that process takes place in Central Processing Unit, that is CPU. So it controls the flow of data by directing the data to enter the system. So it directs the user to enter the data into the system, places the data into its memory. So after that what they will do, whatever the data which is entered by the user, so it will be placed in the memory, retrieves the same as and when needed, and directs the output of data according to the set of stored instructions. Now as I told you, what you have to remember, so input units will be helped to enter the data into the computer system, but conversion of data into useful information, so that takes place in the CPU. So CPU tells the user to enter the data, it will store the data, it will process the data, and it will use the data whenever, or it will provide the information whenever the users needs that. That is the work of CPU. So it has 3 main units as described below. So here also CPU contains main 3 units. So what are the 3 units of CPU? That is, first one is Arithmetic and Logic Unit, that is ALU. So here the word itself says that it is relating to arithmetic as well as logic. Okay, so it is responsible for performing all the arithmetical computations or arithmetical operation such as addition, subtraction, division, multiplication and exponential. So here all these arithmetic and logic unit. So what is the main intention of arithmetic unit? That is to perform the arithmetical operations. So here it may be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So anything relating to arithmetic. So that will be performed by ALU. Next, in addition to this, it also performs logical operations. So it also performs, along with the arithmetical operation, it also performs logical operation involving comparison among variables and data in terms. So what they are going to do? So they are going to compare the variable as well as in terms. That is the logical operations it's going to perform. So CPU, I have told you, it is going to convert the data into information, where it contains 3 main units. First one is arithmetic and logic unit. So arithmetic unit performs all the arithmetical operations, whereas logic unit perform all the logical operations. And the next one is memory unit. Now what is this memory unit? In this unit, data is stored before being actually processed. Now memory unit, as we know, computer has huge memory. Now before giving the information to the users, so whatever the data which is fed in the computer, so it will be stored. Okay, so in this unit, data is stored before being actually processed. So before processing, so that raw data has to be stored, so that is done by the memory unit. So the data so stored is accessed and processed according to the set of instructions which are also stored in the memory of the computer well before such data is transmitted to the memory from input devices. Now as I told you, whatever the data which is being entered into the computer, so those data before processing, it will be stored in the memory unit. Next one is control unit. So this unit is entrusted with the responsibility of controlling and coordinating the activities of other units of computer system. Now what the control unit is going to do? It controls as well as coordinates all the activities of all other units. So here whole control will be in the hands of control unit. So this unit is entrusted with the responsibility of controlling. So it controls everything and coordinating the activities of all other units of the computer system. So whole control of all other units will be in control unit. Specifically, it performs the following functions. Let us see what the control unit will do. So the first one is read instructions out of memory unit. So these are the certain functions which is being performed. So it will read the instructions out of memory unit, decode such instructions. So it helps in decoding the instructions. Next one is set up the routing of data through internal circuitry or wiring to the desired place at the right time. So here it helps in routing of the data and all other controls will be in the hands of control unit. Next one is determine the input device from where to get next instructions hand has been executed. So it helps in controlling. So what you have to remember here under control unit, it controls overall activities of all other units. So this is about CPU. Under CPU there are main three units: arithmetic and logic unit, memory unit as well as control unit. And the next components of computer system is output unit. So input unit, the devices which is help to feed data into the computer system, they are input unit. Whereas CPU or central processing unit, so it helps in processing the data into useful information. Now coming to the next one, output unit. After processing the data, that is by CPU, after processing the data, the information produced according to the set of instructions need to be made available to the user in the human readable as well as understandable form. Now what is the work of output unit? Now through input unit, the user have fed in, data into the computer system. Now the computer have translated, that is through central processing unit, it has transformed the data into useful information. Now the information is in the computer. Now what the output unit will do, it will, after processing the data by CPU, the information produced according to the set of instruction, according to the user's instruction, the data has been processed to useful information and made available. So here output unit will make available those information in the human readable or human understandable manner. A computer system therefore needs an output device to communicate such information to the user. So a device has to be required to present those information to the user or to communicate those information to the users. Essentially, the output device is assigned the task of translating the processed data from machine coded form to the human readable form. Now what they are going to do? So whatever the information which are in the form of machine, that is machine coded form, will be translated to human readable form, that is through output unit. So hope you are clear with the components of computer here. We have three main unit: input unit, central processing unit as well as output unit. The most commonly used output devices, that is the devices which help the user to use the information. So let us see what are the output devices, including external devices like monitor, also called as visual display unit. So monitor is the best example for output device, where through monitor the user is going to get the information. So monitor also called as visual display unit. So you might get a question for 1 mark. Expand VDU. So VDU is visual display unit, and printer is also output device, graphic plotter for producing graphs, technical drawing as well as charts, and internal devices like magnetic storage devices. So these are the output devices. Recently a new device being Perfected is a speech synthesizer which is capable of producing verbal output that sounds like the human speech. Now through monitor, it will be in the form of type form, where through recent technology, here the output can also be in the form of voice. Okay, so it may be in the form of verbal output that sounds like human voice. So this is about, or these are the concepts about components of computer. That is, we have discussed about output unit, and these are the best examples for output unit. Now let us see what are the expected questions from these topics what we have discussed today. So if you see the components of computer, you might get a question, state any two components of computer. So this is for 2 marks because they have asked 2. So this is for 2 marks, state any two components of computer. So which are the components? Here I have given all the 3. You can write any 2. That is input unit, central processing unit as well as output unit. So you can write any of the 2. Next question, write any one component of computer. So they have asked just 1. So this is for 1 mark. Write any one component of computer. So you can write any one. Input unit, or you can write output unit also, or central processing unit. Next one, explain the components of computer. So you have to explain all the components of computer. So this question they might ask for 6 marks. So suppose if they ask for 6 marks, you have to explain all the components. So the first one is input unit. As I told you, the devices help to enter the data into the computer system. Those devices comes under input unit. So it is for entering the data into the computer system. So keyboard and mouse are the best example for input unit. Next, coming to the next one, CPU. So here the data what has been entered by the user, it has to be converted into the useful information. So conversion of data into information will be done in CPU. So it has 3 main units, arithmetic and logic units, which perform all the arithmetic as well as logical operation. Next, memory unit, which help to store the data before it process into the useful information. So those data will be stored in memory unit. Next, control unit, it controls all other units. That will be done by the control unit. Next, output unit. So whatever the data which has been converted to information, now information is ready. So it has to be presented to the users. So that will be done in output unit. So after processing the data has to be presented from the machine language to the human understandable language. So that device is called as output unit. So output unit, the best example for output devices is monitor, or it is also called as visual display unit or VDU. There are number of other output devices also. So this is a question for 6 marks where they might ask, explain the components of computer, where you have to explain all the components. Next one, name any one feature of computer system. So they have just asked 1. So it means it is for 1 marks. Okay. So the functional components of computer system consist of input unit, central processing unit as well as output unit. So they have asked feature. So you can write any of the feature. So here I have written the feature of components only. So your computer system contains mainly 3 components, that is input unit, central processing unit and output unit. Or you can write computer works, or the accuracy in the computer is very high, or the speed of the computer is very high. Like that you can write any one of the feature for 1 mark. Next one is name any 2 input devices of computer system. So they have asked 2 here, in the sense it is for 2 marks. So 2 input devices. So which are the, I have given the example there. So you can write any of the 2 input devices. So mainly used input device is keyboard as well as mouse. Other than that, you can write optical scanner, barcode reader as well as smart card reader. So any 2 you can write. Next question, that is for 1 mark, expand CPU. This is for 1 mark. So what is the full form of CPU? Central Processing Unit. And make sure that when you are writing the abbreviation, make sure that C should be capital, P should be capital and U should be capital, because the full form they have asked CPU, CPU. Central Processing Unit. Next, this is also expand ALU for 1 mark. So, you can write arithmetic and logic unit. That is ALU, that is if they have just asked abbreviation, so it will be for 1 mark. So, here arithmetic and logic unit. So, the next question is state any 2 units of CPU. So, they have asked 2 in the sense it is for 2 marks. So, you can write any 2 units of CPU. Here I have given all the 3. But you can write any 2, arithmetic and logic unit, memory unit and control unit. Next one is state any 2 output devices. So, here also they have asked 2, it means it for 2 marks, output devices of computer system. So, main output device is monitor. Other than that, you can write monitor or visual display unit, that is VDU, then printer, magnetic storage device, any of the 2 output devices they have asked. Next, expand VDU. So, this is for 1 mark because it is an abbreviation here. So, VDU, visual display unit. So, in most of the question paper they have asked this abbreviation, expand VDU, visual display unit. Next, if you see the abbreviations from the topics what we have discussed today. So, first one is expand TPS, that is Transaction Processing System. So, from these concepts you will get all these abbreviations, TPS, Transaction Processing System. Next, expand ATM, Automated Teller Machine. And the next one is expand PIN, PIN, that is Personal Identification Number. Next one, expand DBMS, Database Management System. DBMS means what? Database Management System. Next one is expand SQL, that is Structured Query Language. So, these types of abbreviations they might ask for 1 mark. Okay, so go through this abbreviation, TPS, Transaction Processing System, ATM, Automated Teller Machine, PIN, that is PIN, Personal Identification Number, DBMS, Database Management System, SQL, Structured Query Language. So, these are the few concepts what we have discussed today, and we have seen what are the expected questions on these concepts. So, in my next session, I am going to discuss few more concepts and we shall wind up this particular chapter. As I told you, this is a small chapter and it is all related to theory chapters. Okay. So, how the computer is being used in accounting. So, that we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay. So, we shall discuss few of the concepts like features of computerized accounting system. Next, we shall discuss Management Information System, that is MIS, and Accounting Information System, AIS. MIS and AIS, that is Accounting Information System and Management Information System. Next one is Designing of Accounting Report. So, these are the few concepts, just you have to know what are the term which means. Okay. So, they might ask for 1 or 2 marks. Other than that, you might get a practical oriented question. So, my dear students, hope you have understood today's session. See you all in my next session with the new topics. Till then, take care. Thank you.